I hate the unacceptable social engineering that is happening in Samoa. It's not acceptable to Samoans that a few Samoans own all of the land and traditional resources of our people. If a few own all, does it mean that the rest live at the mercy of those few? It is clear that this is where Samoa is headed, unless Samoans stand up to remind our leaders that all Samoans have inalienable rights, rights that cannot be taken away. Take a snapshot of all Ainga members living. Highlight all those who support the HRPP. Then in green marker, underline the names of the inner core of the party. These are the people who intend to own all land in Samoa and market Samoa's resources to foreigners to maintain their parasitic celebrity lifestyle. Our ancestors never intended a small power elite to plunder the lands and resources of the Ainga Samoa. They declared that unlawful. Look at the names of the constitutional forefathers and understand that a decision has been made to prune away and leave for dead most of their descendants, to deny them ownership of our ancestral land or any benefit from our land's resources. A partnership between overseas interests and corrupt leadership promises the destruction of a free Samoa and slavery for most Samoans within our own land. Even those who believe they will become the victors will lose because they consider themselves smarter than the world's greatest capitalists. Resources must be provided through proper leadership to all Ainga members of the Ainga Samoa. If we do not do this, then we weaken our race. The selfish taking unto themselves by the HRPP means most Ainga will die out from a lack of land, food, healthcare, or education. Foreigners are hired by the HRPP to increase their advantages against their own Ainga. Depopulation is what the HRPP want. They would like life to be so awful, so bereft of opportunities for ordinary families, that they pack up and leave. Isn't it true that if weather could be purchased from foreign powers, that natural disasters to remove Samoa's population would suit the selfish HRPP, and once the land was clear of other Samoans, in would come 1,000 years of fine weather? I want you to remember the HRPP Constitution of 1986. The 7 official objectives of the HRPP as stated in its Constitution of January 1986 are 1. To foster political education and provide leadership necessary to safeguard the rights, liberties, privileges and freedoms of the Samoan people and individuals, to protect their interests and to secure to them peace, security and prosperity in their native land, and to provide institutions which promote and guarantee to them economic, social and political welfare. The second objective is to uphold the Constitution of Samoa. The third objective is to encourage and foster among the Samoans collectively and individually the spirit of independence, self-reliance, industry, assertiveness, and finally, acquisitiveness. The fourth objective is to demand and guarantee the protection of the vital Samoan interests by means of appropriate constitutional safeguards in the Constitution of Samoa or any future constitution of any government to be established in Samoa. The fifth objective is to devise the means of informing the Samoan people by means of political education or otherwise about the international local body politics and finer and worthy aspects of other cultures, arts, music, philosophy, economics and other disciplines. The sixth objective is to promote and encourage the means of improving the living standards of the people of Samoa. The seventh, to do all such other lawful things as are incidental or conducive to the attainment of the foregoing objects. I encourage the HRPP to return to its core values as stated in its Constitution. In terms of developing our society, we are just as able as any other nation. We do not need money to ensure the economic, social and cultural rights of our people. We need leaders with a heart for the people. It has been said that intelligence without a regard for justice is merely cunning, and cunning is defined in the concise Oxford English Dictionary as skilled in achieving one's ends by deceit or evasion. What most concerns me about their original constitution in 1986 is that all we are left with in 2013 is their objective of greed or acquisitiveness. Now, why are poor countries poor? In his book, The Undercover Economist, published by Little Brown in 2006, reprinted 4 times in 2006, HBK ISBN 0316 732931, C format ISBN 0316 731 161, Tim Harford explains why the ordinary people in poor countries are trapped in poverty. He begins by pointing out the fact that economists used to think that economic wealth came from a combination of man-made resources, that is, roads, factories, machines, telephone systems, human resources, hard work and education, and technological resources, that is, technical know-how, that is, high-tech machinery. He states that it is obvious that poor countries grow into rich countries by investing money in physical resources and by improving human and technological resources with education and technology transfer programs. Yet why are poor countries not catching up with rich countries in spite of huge foreign aid and foreign investment? Harford points out that poor countries should show rapid signs of catching up to rich countries, as slight improvements in resources show increasing benefits. Harford points out the fact that countries like China, Taiwan, and South Korea, Botswana, Chile, Mauritius, and Singapore have become the fastest growing economies on the planet. Yet 50 years ago, these countries lacked man-made, human, technical, and sometimes natural resources, and yet have grown much richer since then, improving their education, technology, and infrastructure. Harford states that a lack of improvement results from the theft of a nation's resources by its leaders. Harford refers to an economist called Manu Olson, O-L-S-O-N, who suggests that the poverty of the poor countries arises from stable dictatorships, which stunt their economic growth. A purely self-interested dictator will realize that he cannot destroy the economy and starve the people if he plans to remain in power, because he would exhaust all the resources and have nothing to steal the following year, says Olson. As long as a dictator feels secure in his power, he will not kill the goose that lays the golden eggs. He will not destroy a community which continues to produce opportunities for exploitation. Like the disease whose very existence relies on the body it afflicts, the dictator has to keep the economy functioning in order to steal from it. This example from the top creates bandits everywhere, says Olson. Self-interested, ambitious people in power are often the cause of hardship for the poor, as checks and balances to prevent corruption are either removed or completely ignored. Educating the population is the last thing anyone profits from doing. Keeping the population ignorant and vulnerable to exploitation is a necessary component in maintaining political power. Traditional authorities and uneducated citizens are ignorant of models of healthy governance and unable to comprehend the criminal genius developed in Western societies to exploit native peoples and deprive them of their traditional lands and resources. If a poor country has a thief for a leader, theft and dishonesty will be widespread because he needs to allow others to steal in order to keep their support. At the top of the dishonest hierarchy, the money stolen from the nation may be measured in hundreds of millions or even hundreds of billions. Further down the pyramid of wealth, development is prevented because the rules or laws of the society do not encourage projects or businesses which would be to the common good. The web of corruption undermines every effort to improve the infrastructure, attract investment, and improve educational standards. The lack of trust in a community creates a dog-eat-dog society in which it is in most people's interest to take action that directly or indirectly damages everyone else. The rot starts with the government but affects and afflicts the entire society. There is no point investing in a business because the government will not protect you against thieves, so why not become a thief? There is no point in getting an education because jobs are not handed out on merit, but because of corrupt connections, and the government does not provide good schools. Good governance and economic growth are all about a better life for individuals, more choice, less fear, less toil and hardship. Letting a selfish few wallow in a nation's wealth results in an ignorant and unhealthy population which is constantly being abused. Do the selfish few need to be reminded that true power lies with the people? Is Samoa a kleptocracy? A kleptocracy means rule by a thief or a criminal.